Welcome from the Office for Education Policy. I'm Denise Arola, the new Associate Director, and I'm here with the second edition of information on ATLAS, the Arkansas Teaching, Learning, and Assessment System. The data are dropping, and we just want to help make sure folks know how to use the information. So we're going to start at a really high level and go from there. Last time I spoke about the importance of understanding all the different parts of the system and to use each part of the system and the results of each part of the system for its purpose, what it was designed to do. So today, since the grades 3 through high school summative assessment scores are going to drop this week, let's take a look at those scores and how they're intended to be used. Let's look a little more deeply at what our summative assessment was designed to do and how we need to use it within its purpose. Our summative assessment is an assessment of how well students have mastered grade level standards. And the summative scores are intended to be a systems check, to look at these larger levels of your learning system, like classroom, grade level, school, district, and understand more about how well your learning system is aligned with grade level expectations and how well your systems of support are supporting students to access and demonstrate their skill and understanding in grade level standards. So I'm going to focus first on the meaning of these scores in terms of these larger levels. And we'll talk more later in another video about student level scores and what those mean. First and foremost, we need to interpret scores in terms of the ATLAS performance levels. These are the descriptions of what it means to be at each of these levels of demonstration of grade level mastery. So level 1, as you can see, is about students who are just demonstrating a limited understanding of the knowledge and skills that are required of the grade level standards. And these students, because they're coming out of 2024 and they're at level 1 at the end of the year, they're going to require much more significant support and scaffolding. They might need tutoring, they might need small group instruction in areas that they're missing, but they're going to require much more in terms of what they need to be able to access the content taught in the grade level they're in this year. A level 2 student and a level 3 student have slightly different definitions. If you look here on this slide, you'll see a dotted line, and the intention was to talk about how our students in level 2, based on content, can demonstrate a basic understanding of the knowledge and skills required of the grade level standards. So think about a student who completed 2024 and they get a level 2. A level 2 means that they may not be consistent in demonstrating their grade level understanding. They may not have all the skills. They may need more personalized supports in order to access the grade level material for the grade level they're in now. So this is important in that it's not a whole-scale intervention. It's not a stick them in a special course. This is more personalized. This is where you'll have to dig deeper and use other parts of the system to understand how to build these students up so that they can have more mastery of grade level material. So they're doing some grade level things, but they're not doing them consistently or in all the areas that we would expect. A level 3 student is actually demonstrating that they are mastering the grade level standards, that they've mastered them, that they can demonstrate the knowledge and skills that we would expect for a student at that grade level in 2024. And so these students are ready to access whatever they're in this year. Now, a level 4 student would have advanced understanding, and hopefully that's something that you all are picking up on with the students you already have in your classrooms. These are students that may need acceleration. They're ready for more advanced applications and syntheses of the knowledge and understanding that go with the standards. So everything ties back to the Arkansas academic content standards. I mentioned in my last video that the ATLAS reporting system provides information in several different ways. And in terms of the summative scores, you actually can look back, which is your systems check, or you can look at your current roster of students. We're going to focus on looking back. And to do that, when you get into the system, you're going to need to click on Change the Reporting Time Period, and then you'll get this little box. In this little box, you're going to set the date to last year's school year and set the date to a time period that was during the testing window. I put it on the last day of testing so I could capture all of the students. And then you hit Save, and this way you'll be able to see your 2024 results based on how your students were configured in the 2024 school year during the testing window. Just a quick navigation tip. When you finish saving that time period, you'll get to select the Atlas tests that you want to review. In my case, I've selected a few, just the Atlas summatives. If you want to look at your English proficiency from ELPA 21 from 2024, you can also click on that. And then you select Go to Dashboard, and that'll get you to the screen you need to see next. This is a quick snapshot from a state view. These are data that were available in the state board presentation in terms of the proportion of students at the state level who fall into each of these categories. But this is the type of screen you would see where you're going to get these bars that tell you the percentage of students and the number of students who are on each of your performance levels. You're going to be able to select the grade or subject test that you want to go more deeply into. This is a district view, and this is the high level for the district. When you go in, you have to decide which subject do you want to view, and you can do that by looking at just these initial statistics. These are the proportion of kids in each of the different performance levels, and you can see that it varies slightly by subject. So depending on the subject that you want to explore first, you would click on the link. I have a tendency to always go to math and science. So I had some friends who helped me to also look at ELA, but this is your big system view. I do want to point out that under mathematics, where it says grade 9, that's actually algebra, and where it says grade 10, that's your geometry scores. And the same is true over here. For science, you'll notice that grade 9 is missing because grade 10 are the biology scores. Those include early testers and late testers as well. They just haven't updated the screen in the system to reflect biology for science instead of grade 10, and algebra and geometry for grades 9 and 10 in mathematics. Just a quick heads up. The little information buttons will open up additional information that can help you understand your scores. Remember, everything ties back to those performance levels. You have little information buttons next to these little bars, and those tell you the scale scores that are associated with each performance level. When you open a screen, this is a particular grade level in science, and the state information is at the top, the district information follows below it, and then you can dig down into school, and from school into teacher, and from teacher into classroom and students. So this is a drillable set of reports, but you want to start and make sure you understand the high-level information. So don't forget, if you don't remember what the performance levels mean, you can always click on the little I. If you're not sure about this average scale score, it'll give you information about that. I know some of you are just anxious to get started and to start drilling down into the information. And so I just want to share a few helpful assessment and data use habits. You want to make sure always to learn how the scores are intended to be used. And I do recommend that you start at a high level so that you can get a sense of the patterns. If you have the role of district, you can look at things from the district level. If you have the role at school, you can look at things from the school level and split that into grade levels and classrooms. If you're a classroom, you're going to get the closest to the students because you'll have your classroom information and you'll also have your student level information. But my other caution when you're looking at this is to write it down. What do you notice and what do you wonder about? So this is really an attempt to not leap to explanation. We have a habit of looking at data and immediately assuming a reason why it looks the way it does. And especially with a brand new test that answers a different question. How well are my students doing compared to what they're expected to do within grade level standards? If we're answering that question, then we need to really think about what do I notice about the number or proportion of students that are in different performance levels? Do I see differences among schools or grade levels or subjects? And then at the school level, you might look at deeper levels. Do I see differences among grade levels in classrooms and or around the different subjects? And then at the classroom level, what patterns are evident among your students? And this allows you to really first observe without trying to explain it, and to start writing down questions. As you're writing down questions, this is not the only information that you should use to answer some of your questions. We want to go deeper, and some of that deeper might be using other tools in the system or other tools that you have locally. This reporting system goes deep, and there are a lot of different ways that you can navigate through it. In summary, you need to understand the information that you're viewing, and that is usually grounded in the purpose of the different scores that you're seeing. And so I wanted to get you this information quickly. In a future video, we'll dive into some of the additional information that you can dig into and how it's intended to be used to help you understand the areas where your schools, grade levels, classrooms, students have strengths and areas where they might need additional work. There's some pretty special scores that are calculated here. And if you're wondering what the symbols mean and how you're supposed to use them, then stay tuned. I'll have another video to follow up. Also, I would be remiss if I didn't tell you to make sure you're hitting your co-op trainings on how to use the scores. Those are going to be coming around during the next 2 weeks as the Office for Student Assessment gets out there and talks about the system. And hopefully, the more you get to hear about it, the easier it becomes to understand the information that is being shared with the new Atlas Arkansas Teaching, Learning, and Assessment System.